Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Let's talk about ID cards for veterans. Now, this is an important topic because not all ID cards are the same. They look different, they act different, and they are for different purposes. What are the most important ID cards for you? And yes, as a veteran, non retiree, you can still obtain a DoD, Department of Defense, ID card. Now, this is important too. So, wanted to dive into this, share this information with you. I've done videos on this in the past a couple times, and it's just a nice refresher for folks. Before we jump into it, though, I do want to throw on a special thank you to Randy J10. Randy J10, thank you so much for that super comment, super chat. I really do appreciate your support very much. Now, when it comes to ID cards, they're not all the same. And really, in my mind, there's really three things that you must do or have when it comes to ID cards. So we'll touch on all of them here. I did pull up some information. Number one, let's talk about some of the different types of ID cards out there, and then we'll dive a little deeper and kind of, go through it, if you will. All right, so the main types of ID cards are going to be look, there's a funny thing with us veterans, right? Sometimes you may have served X number of years, got out of the military, and now you're a veteran, and then you end up joining the reserves, right? I did that. So after my active duty time with the Marine Corps, I joined the Army National Guard, and I ended up getting an ID, obviously, as a reservist. So you have your standard CAC card. So the common access card, the one with a little computer chip, but that's going to be your active duty folks or contractors, that type of stuff. So barring that, there's the most common one would be your VHIC. That is your Veterans Health Identification Card. Okay, that's the one you get from the VA. Now, this one is really, really helpful, and you should absolutely get that. You're not required to, and half the time they never ask you for it anyway. But nonetheless, you should get that. Then through the VA, you also have the opportunity to get what's called the VIC, the VIC, the Veterans ID card. It's really, you don't really need it unless you're just an ID junkie and you just want to have another ID. They're not that great, honestly. And really all they do is they serve for a way to prove that you're a veteran for essentially discounts and stuff. But that takes me on to your state most likely has your state issued driver's license option to have veteran placed on that, where you're proving to your motor vehicles department that you are a veteran, and then they emboss that or whatever onto your ID. So you are good to go there. So really you don't need the VIC, which is kind of it's not that great of an ID. Anyway, if you want one, you can get one there on the VA's website. So you have the state issued, right, veteran kind of designation on your driver's license or ID card. Highly suggest doing that. And then you have your military retiree ID cards, right, DoD ID cards. And then you have your 100% disabled veteran DoD ID cards. Now, with that being said, why do you need some of these different ID cards? Well, it used to be, well, you want to get DoD designation ID card because it gets you on base for whatever, commissary, PX, and so forth. That's not fully the case anymore because back in, when was it? 2018, the Purple Heart and Disabled Veterans Equal Access Act. The 2018 Act, which went into effect on January 1st, 2020, allows veterans with a VA documented service-connected disability rating to access commissaries, exchanges, and MWR facilities. So if you have a VA documented service-connected disability, you can access bases for, again, commissary, PX, BX, exchanges, those exchanges, the MWR facilities, gas stations, all of that type of stuff. So you can get on base with that. However, However, your spouse can only go with you, right? They can't get on by themselves. Where if you have a DoD ID card, now your spouse and dependent children of age are able to also get dependent ID cards. So that's an important aspect. So, but as far as everybody else, right, who cannot, and we'll dive in on how you can obtain and what that looks like for the DoD ID card. But for everybody else, this was a huge deal in 2020 that opened up the gates, so to speak, for access to military bases. So it says eligibility. Veterans with a VA documented service connected disability rating are eligible regardless of their disability percentage. Again, it used to be 100% only. Other eligible groups, in addition to disabled veterans, eligibility also extends to Purple Heart recipients, former prisoners of war, and primary family caregivers of eligible veterans. Effective date. The expanded access for these groups began January 1st, 2020. And how to get access: eligible veterans need to present proof of eligibility, such as, and this goes back to the ID card, your Veterans Health Identification Card. So that is your VA ID card, the one that they give you when you enroll in medical and so forth. Get that VHIC, the Veteran Health Identification Card, and at a visitor control center to get their installation access registered. So typically it's not just fly through the gate first go. Your first go is go into the visitor center, give them your ID card. You may be able to get on same day, but sometimes, and it's kind of base specific, sometimes they'll run a little background thing and make sure that all is well. And then what I've seen too is sometimes that will last at least a year. So then you don't have any problems getting through the gate for a year, especially if you live close to an installation. So let's talk about your DoD ID card. Now, what's so great about this is, one, I don't know. For me, I kind of like it, having the DoD ID card. It's just, it's another, I guess, it feels like a real legit form of identification, much more so than, say, your VA ID card, right? So your Veteran Health ID card. So if you need two forms of ID, it's like that feels appropriate. So I pulled this up just to share. And again, I have my 100% disabled veteran. It says 100% disabled veteran. It says your branch of service, your highest rank achieved, your expiration is, mine says indefinite. So I'm assuming that they all do. So it says, yes, 100% disabled veterans can get a DoD ID card, officially called the Uniformed Services Identification and Privilege Card, USID, which grants them access to military installations, commissaries, and exchanges. To get one, a veteran must visit a Rapids ID card office with required documents, including their DD-214, VA disability rating letter, and 2 forms of personal identification. Now, for you, the veteran, it's the same access ability, whether you have the DoD ID card or you have your Veterans Health ID card. But again, it goes over to the spouse, right? So this makes it easier. You don't always have to go to the base if you don't want to. Your spouse can go by themselves, right? So you don't need to be the chauffeur. All right, so required documents, again, VA disability letter, a letter from the VA showing a 100% disability rating or a 100% TDIU, permanent disability, individual unemployability. You can download the form from va.gov on your letters form there. Your DD-214 and any, or not any, but your personal identification, at least 2 forms of valid personal ID, such as driver's license or passport. Where to go? Visit your Rapids, okay, RAPIDS, Rapids. It's real-time automated personnel identification system office to apply in person. You may also need to do some stuff on DEERS as well, especially if you're going to be adding a spouse. You can find the nearest office using the ID Card Office online portal. It is advisable to check the specific requirements and hours of your local office, as some may require appointments. And I would say most actually do want you to have an appointment. And then sometimes they have really kind of condensed and weird hours, just depending on how everything works. So what the ID card provides: base access, grants access to military installations, commissary exchange privileges, allows shopping at military commissaries and exchanges. MWR provides access to morale, welfare, and recreation facilities. And there's a notation here, and it kind of goes without saying, but this ID card does not grant access to TRICARE or medical care at military treatment facilities. So just a kind of a next kind of step on that. Also on cac.mil, cac.mil, they also have information here on all of the different types of uniformed services ID cards. And it does have here, it spells it out that for this specific ID card, 100% disabled veterans are eligible for that specific card. So it's the next generation US ID card. And they're fantastic, nice, good, legit identification if that's something that you're looking for. And I like the fact that it has your branch of service on there with your rank as well, which is kind of nice. They do the pay grade and the rank, so it's just, I don't know, it's a nice, almost like a keepsake as well. I mean, it's just kind of something nice to have. Anyway, with that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.